Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to talk to another individual that is passionate about our products. And I want to introduce her to you. But first, let me go through the list of all of the credentials that this person has this morning. So her name is Lynn McDonald. And she went to the Glasgow Medical School and graduated in 2004 as a general practitioner. She worked in pediatrics, obstetrics, gynecology, psychiatry, ENT, dermatology, ophthalmology, oncology, homeopathy, surgery. She was a practicing partner in North Scotland. She was a teacher at the Aberdeen University and examiner for the final exams. And while studying in medicine, she even studied homeopathy at the Glasgow Homeopathic Hospital. And she did work in homeopathic remedies. So with this long list of credentials, I'm honored to have Lynn McDonald on my call today. Lynn, welcome.
Hi, Mark. Pleased to be here.
Yeah.
I
wow.
have. It's a long list. However, yeah, I did actually graduate in 1999. Just to correct the record there, because I don't know if you want to start again, Mark. Actually.
No, absolutely not. No, 99 or 2004. You're actually a doctor.
No.
And we're just happy to have you.
Yeah. After you get your medical degree, it's not finished then. It depending on what specialty you go into. So I specialized in general practice, which meant going through all the hospital jobs. But yeah, loved my time as a doctor. It was really hard work at times, but you know, the whole point of going to medical school in the first place, because I wanted to help people with their health. Then I was following my granddad in his footsteps because he also went to Glasgow University. So that's how I ended up going down that path, because I thought genuinely that's what you do when you want to help people with their health. So yeah, it was a very interesting long journey to get to where I am just now in the north of Scotland as a 51-year-old single mum of 5, and now doing something very different, which I love even more.
When you were in the medical profession, did you see, like, when you create the awareness of what's happening in that field and what we're doing in holistic health, that probably brought you to saying, I'm not in the right avenue or the right resonance for helping people, right?
It's really funny because it wasn't even like that. It wasn't like that. And that is despite having learned homeopathy as a medical doctor and using it in my practice. I used to prescribe it on NHS prescriptions for a lot of my patients, actually, where there was no medical answer. For example, anxiety. For someone who's sitting their driving test, you can't give them diazepam. You can't give them something like that because obviously that's going to dull their wits. So homeopathic remedies, there's several options for someone who's really like anxious, like, a rabbit caught in the headlights, and quite a few patients who had been around the houses, lots of different specialties. For example, there was a lady with really bad headaches who'd been to the ENT surgeons, she'd been to medics, she'd been to neurologists, still had headaches. So nothing that all these people had tried with her had benefited her. And then one of my partners sent her to me because he knew that I did homeopathy and literally prescribed her belladonna. And she came back on review and she said, "I don't think I need to see you today, doctor. I'm really sorry I'm wasting your time." And I was like, "No, whoa, come in, tell me." And she said, "No, I've not had any more headaches since the belladonna." So, when you're then told that, because I sat on the LMC, which was the local medical committee in our local area in the north of Scotland here. And at one point, the area drugs and therapeutics committee was wanting to stop us from prescribing homeopathy on an NHS prescription, which up until then had been absolutely fine to do. So for any doctor, whether they'd studied homeopathy or not, because it's that safe, it just doesn't harm anyone. If it's not the right remedy, it's not going to cause an issue, right? So they'd said, well, there's not enough evidence to say that it actually works. And when you consider the price of a homeopathic remedy, it seemed a really illogical argument. And I was like, well, whoa, wait a minute, I prescribe it, and I can tell you some of my patient stories. So no, it didn't make any difference. We got stopped from prescribing homeopathy in about 2011. But I think the main reason why I left was because I left general practice in 2012 because of burnout, my own burnout, which I now, when I look back, was more like misalignment. I mean, I'd been there, done everything I needed to do. That was all very vital to my journey. And then at that point, it was this overwhelming need to look after myself better. I was stressed all the time. I was like, struggling to know how, after taking some time out, how I could go back into my partnership and continue practicing without becoming sick again. And I couldn't reconcile that part with myself. I thought, I don't know. So I just had to quit.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just
the
like
partnership life to get into,
Yeah, and it's the awareness of saying, the allopathic or traditional medicine as we know it only treats symptoms, and you can go so far as to treat symptoms because it always comes back and always comes back. And when people are just increasing medication or adding another medication to their problems, they realize, well, there's got to be another solution, and there are other solutions than traditional medicine, because even myself as an orthotherapist treating musculoskeletal problems, these people that came to me, I was their last resort. And it was always that awareness of saying, well, you do me good, and you're looking at the whole holistic approach to my body and not just the symptoms. And that's when they clicked and they said, yeah, it's not just symptoms. We have to look at the cause and what's happening, and why do I have that pain, or why do I develop arthritis, or why do I have this disease? It's because it's a balance between your energy, your physical body, and your thinking and your lifestyle, and everything, combined into a holistic approach. And I was just amazed when I start talking about eating right for somebody that has arthritis and reducing acidity in the body, and saying, you need to stop eating meats, especially pork, because it creates uric acid, and that's what creates the crystallization in your joints, and that's why you have arthritis. And they would say, oh my God, my doctor never told me. But I learned in here in Canada that most doctors have maybe 10 hours of nutritional education, and that's it. And then us as therapists, we've had hundreds of hours of nutrition courses, and we learn how food acts on different body types, and we bring that approach to people, and it's similar to all of you, and it becomes an important concept in what we're doing even today in Lovare. And it's but let me ask you a question. When we talk about treating people, when now you're looking at people who are asking you questions on their health, you probably have a different approach than saying, maybe I just need to give them a medication, or I have to give them a pill or something like that. What is your approach now to talking to people about their health?
Yeah, if you ask any of my 5 children, do we even have paracetamol in the house? Which I think you call something else over across the pond. I think is Advil. Is it Advil? Paracetamol for headache?
Yeah, Tylenol. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. No, don't even have that in my house now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-medicine, not by any means at all. I think everybody has to be safe. And I will be the first person to tell someone, you need to go and see your doctor about that particular symptom set. Or, for example, if it's an emergency, obviously heart attack, strokes, broken legs, anything emergency, straight to the hospital, can't be argued with that. However, my main bread and butter, if you like, as a general practitioner was chronic disease management. It's chronic disease management, right? So we're talking about chronic disease in people. And when I was still a GP, I saw the same patients coming in and out and in and out and in and out. And I used to sit there thinking, if modern medicine is so advanced, why is nobody getting any better with these chronic diseases, you know? So your question of why? I used to irritate my mum and dad so much with that question when I was a little girl. Why? So it's almost like I've gone back to that. Why are people sick, right? And you've just listed the reasons, really. It's what we put in our bodies, food-wise, and everybody's different. I don't think there's one diet you could recommend for every single person that's going to suit them all. However, there's main things that you can probably put with particular types of conditions that you think it would be sensible to see how you are without that. Then we've got toxins. We're like surrounded with toxins in our environment. You can't get, if you're living, you're going to get toxins into you somehow, whether it is chemicals, energy, the atmosphere that you're working in, the people, you know, the vibration. And I actually hadn't mentioned before that I trained up in vibrational medicine as well. So I'm an energy healer now, as well as, you know, natural remedies too. So it's all about getting yourself in the right energy as well, as you know, and always trying to learn, you know, why did this happen to me? Why, you know, the question again, why, what went wrong? So from an energetic point of view, if you're not happy in a situation, what do you need to do yourself, knowing that you can't change the external environment? You have to change yourself, either move away, either change, adapt, whatever, coping mechanisms. So if the thinking part comes in, you know, what are you telling yourself on a daily basis? I can do this, or no, there's nothing I can do about this. Or time will tell, or, you know, whatever it is. But I've learned to speak to myself in a much kinder manner and still correct myself when I tell myself something. I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't have said that. No, Lynn, you're doing great.
Yeah, well,
keep going.
I do agree on that 100%. You know, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So mind is you know, an important component even in your health. And so, you know, it's when you look at things that you want to change, the things you look at change, and it's the same thing. It's all mind, body, and soul was my first motto or mantra when I started the mud company. So let's switch into this mud. And you know, I'm the mud man, and I've been in this more mud helm for over 40 years, and you know, coming from slapping it on people's body and faces, and then drinking it. Now we have this powdered form. When were you introduced to humic acid and fulvic acid? When, how did that come about?
Yeah. Okay, so I had left medicine in 2012. Didn't know what to do next. And then one of my friends that I'd met when I was in hospital having a baby, she started posting on Facebook that she was starting an online business. So that at that point I was like, what are you doing? Joined her in my first ever online business with her in a different company. And so that was really when I realized that there were other ways of making money, caring about people's health, out with the medical profession in a vehicle that you can actually progress over time to match or even better than a GP could earn. So I didn't have to go back and retrain in a whole new degree or something like that, because, you know, when you're a mother and you're looking after children, that's not very practical. So this was a way to earn money. And then several businesses later, and not quite finding the right thing, I'd kind of given up on that route of, you know, doing things. Because I think you genuinely need to be passionate about your product, passionate about everything that you're doing before you can get into flow and really go with it and really do a good job in that environment. And it depends as well on the team, the people that you're working with. So what happened next? This is a really good question. So this was May 2021. And I was kind of like, if you imagine what had gone on the year before, 2020, everyone knows. And I was kind of in a scenario of, I really, really, really want to help people with their health. So I prayed to God here in my kitchen, in front of my Aga, show me the thing I need to do to help people with their health and make sure I don't miss it when I see it. Literally the next day, one of my very good friends on Facebook posted about fulvic and humic acid, and I'd never heard of it before. So I was like, what's this? And she invited me to a Facebook group, and I was literally blown away. My mind was blown. I was like, I can't even believe what I'm seeing with testimonies. I was like, I have to get in about this product to see what it is all about. And at that point, you have to bear in mind, I'd given up on the idea of earning money in network marketing. So I was very much, oh no, this is what it is. Don't want to do that. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. I asked God. He showed me this. I didn't specify it can't be this or it can't be that. And he's given it to me. So I went with it and met yourself. I met amazing people in the company, which was this one, Black Oxygen Organics. And that helped so many people, hundreds and hundreds of people that I personally witnessed being helped by that product, and in the wider environment, loads and loads of people. So I ran with it, and I have never looked back since. So that's how I found that.
The profile of selling this product, I remember when I started it, putting it in a bottle, people thought I was crazy. That's particularly why I'm called the Mudman, because I was a crazy guy in the small village where I first started. And you know, the idea of bottling mud was to try to get it to market. You know, you're talking about different types of marketing and how to bring it to market. We decided to go into direct sales because we can reach a lot more people than just working in our own clinic and working in our environment. And that was my biggest, you know, attributes, is how can I bring it to market with the fact of talking to as many people worldwide. Well, we decided on direct sales, and you know, some people like it, some people don't. You know, in my opinion, if I can reach more people, and I'm doing a service to the mankind, and just like you, is to help people better their lives by being aware that you have to take responsibility of your health and take care of it yourself, and learn how to take care of yourself. So we know there's a lot of benefits to humic and fulvic, and you know, anti-inflammatory, cell regeneration, chelator, antioxidant, adaptogens. What are your key benefits that you like to work on, or all of them?
Oh, well, all of them. When you're talking holistic, it really is holistic because of, I think, what it does at a cellular level, and by so many different processes, routes of being able to use it. It's so versatile, which I love. It's pure, it's organic, it's natural. Literally what I like so much is the fulvic and the humic itself. So the humic is like, for me, it's like a reservoir of all the plant-based minerals.
Yes.
Rich in carbon, which gives it the blackness. And the fulvic can help shuttle the minerals into the cells, into the mitochondria, everywhere around the body, and helps donate the particular electrolytes or ions, which are the organic electrolytes coming from the humic carbon molecule, at the exact right amount and need for each cell, which I just think is like, if there was a genius plan, that is what it is. And then can shuttle any kind of toxins out of the mitochondria, which, like, the mitochondria, they are in every cell of the body except for the red blood cell, because the red blood cell does not have a nucleus. So that's why it dies after 3 months, but it just does its job, circulating the oxygen. But every other cell in the body has mitochondria, and that's the powerhouse of the cell. So if we get the right ingredients in there and clear out it's like when you've got like a wood burning fire, right? You need to have the wood going in, you need to have the heat, and you need to have oxygen going in. But you can't just let it build up and have all the ash built up in there without clearing the ash out sometimes. So we've also got the job of taking out the trash out of the cell, out of the mitochondria, which means everything's cleaner, everything works better, and that sets the body up for the right basis for the best healing properties that you can give your body a chance to heal from things from. So we're actually supporting the body to heal its own self, which requires the proper ingredients, the proper waste removal, and the right energy as well. So that for me means that when I look back on how I used to work as a doctor, what did we do? 90% of the diagnosis came from history taking and then examination. And then you would do tests to try and narrow down a set of symptoms to a particular disease name. And it's been quite a change for me to go to, let's not think so much about what that disease is called. Let's think more about helping the body in general to support its own healing. So it's really interesting because you get people who come with a specific thing they want fixed, right? Say, for example, it's a skin problem, but there may be something else brewing on the inside of their body that's even more important for us to fix first.
Yes.
So, for example, you didn't know that, or someone doesn't know that they're going to have a heart attack, right? So if they don't know until they actually have it, they didn't know there was an underlying problem there first. So the body will actually very cleverly sort other underlying issues even before other things get sorted. So the healing process for everybody is very different as well, because it depends on what's been going on that you can't see at a microscopic or otherwise level in your body. So it's just blown my mind to think that it's a completely different approach to what we call allopathic. What we call allopathic medicine actually is not that old. And think about mud spas, even homeopathy is over 200 years old, way older than modern medicine. And before a lot of medications were brought in, doctors at medical schools actually used to study a lot of the other methods of healing before medical schools were actually changed. And the change was that they had to really focus more on medicine rather than all of the modalities of healing. Otherwise, doctors not get their degree. And then even when I was a new doctor, you still had to do a year of supervised prescribing in a hospital before you were fully registered with the General Medical Council. So it was all about us becoming competent prescribers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I remember 1963 was when they started introducing pharmacology, where you started introducing prescribed medicine. But prior to that, the traditional medicine was not just prescribing medication. It was, the holistic approach and looking at your body. And you look at old medical doctors, that's what they were doing. Even when my mom was telling me the farmer, she lived on a farm, and you had the veterinarian and the family doctor, and whoever was sick, they'd call one or the other, because they would do the same thing, either with an animal or a human being. They will look at what's going on, what's the cause, what's happening, what's the environment, and today it's totally different. So, do you think that we can use our products in conjunction with traditional medicine? And there's a lot of saying, I want to quit all my medication and I want to go on humic and fulvic, and humic and fulvic cures everything. And without saying this disclaimer on this call, because this is a candid call between two persons, but you know, we are not in the business to say, you know, we're curing diseases or we're going to heal all your problems. Not in that business. But what is your stance
No.
on that?
On that, I would 100% agree. Like I say, I'm the first person, if someone's contacting, because I get a lot of people contacting me with questions just because they know that what my background is, and particular symptom sets, I would say get yourself to your doctor, let me know how you get on, and I will help support you alongside what your medics are going to be doing with you. But I do think you need to be checked over. So, you know, when you're talking about things like a chronic cough that someone's had for 6 weeks that can't clear, you can't just say, oh yeah, just, you know, like, we'll just give you some fulvic and humic acid. I'm sure that's fine. That would be dangerous. You know, that's dangerous. We want to be safe. What I see as my position right now is having extensive experience in all those specialties, and in my years as a general practitioner, I would love to see more of a coming together of us working more alongside each other. For example, there's a lot of doctors that know nothing about fulvic and humic acid, and I think they would really love to. I mean, even when I was already a fully fledged doctor, and I was training to be a GP. And so all the GP registrars, as we called ourselves, as we were called, used to study, we just get together and train up in lots of different ways to become the best types of doctors that we could for our patients, right? Because that's what it's all about. So the enthusiasm for learning about we would call it alternative medicine or alternative methods of helping people with their health, right? They loved learning about all that. They loved it because it's something you don't get taught at medical school. And to have some knowledge on things like even hypnotherapy, homeopathy, you know, aromatherapy, all the other different things that you can go down the route of, having some knowledge, because a lot of patients are going down these routes alongside what doctors can do. So I think it's something that I would love to see physicians embrace more. I know they're very, very busy people. And having been one myself, you really don't get a lot of downtime to the blue sky thinking a different way around a situation. You don't. So when a patient comes into you and says, is there anything else I can do for my whatever it is? Can I try this? Can I try that? Then what does it normally a doctor like my old self would have done is a Google search. Oh no, I don't think you can have that when you've got an autoimmune disorder. So that's a bad idea. Oh no, I don't think you can do this. Or, oh, well, I don't think it'll do any harm, but you didn't really know because you hadn't studied it extensively. So it was very hard to answer those sorts of questions unless unless it was an obvious thing. It was quite tricky to advise people. So I would like to see my role as having medical background knowledge, safely being able to encourage people to use other things alongside, in the hope that that provides the best environment for their own body to heal themselves in other ways.
Yeah, so
and I hope I've said that.
No, well, it's, you know, our products are complementary to all of the remedies that, you know, medical doctors, and we certainly don't want to treat diseases and get our brand partners or our partners saying that, you know, we're there to help and cure your disease. That's not what we want, but we do want the foundational of support, and all our products are supporting the immune system, supporting the cardiovascular system, supporting the digestive system, and not necessarily saying we're curing. And that's very important in the narrative that we because, you know, in the past, and then, you know, bringing up the past where people were starting to say that, you know, because of you know, heavy metals and lead content and arsenic and lead and cadmium and all this in product, you know, they were shying away because, you know, we're scared of arsenic because we used to use that word in movies to poison people. And so as soon as you hear the name, oh my God, it's not good. But, you know, I always say we're made of the periodic table. So, we're water, bugs, and dirt. And in that dirt part is the periodic table, and there is arsenic and lead and all these metals in the body that comprises our body. And so it's important to understand the concept of what's the difference between organic and inorganic. What is your take on that?
Yeah, so that is something obviously we weren't taught about at medical school in particular. We weren't taught anything about this, so I've had to learn it since. And what my understanding is, when you're talking about organic chemistry, that is when you have carbonated molecules with ions attached, okay? Whereas something like copper sulfate, that's not organic because that's just copper and sulfate. It wasn't attached to a big carbon molecule, which, for example, humic acid is. So the plants magically suck up the metals from the soil into their structures. And then once these old ancient plants had broken down and, photosynthesis obviously is used in the growth of plants. So the photosynthesis is the first part of the process. And then obviously when the plants break down, it's microorganisms that do the humification part. And it's magic because you cannot, humans cannot create those two processes. So there's no way to copy nature in this situation.
Correct.
So over a long period of time, then you've got your fulvic and humic product that was made how many years ago, Mark? 60,000
or 60,000 years
60,000 years
ago. Well,
so
that's the important component that I want to message out, is the fact that because it's binded to carbon, because the humification of plants transforms it to carbon. And when it's tied to a carbon molecule, which is the same as our body, it has oxygen and hydrogen molecule. And all of these metals become harmless. And they're important in micro doses because all these minerals become colloidal, which means the plant transforms them into inorganic matter, which is important for our body. So we do need lead, we do need arsenic, we need all of these in small amounts, to trigger the nervous system to function better, to have the heartbeat function better. So it's important that people understand the difference between organic and inorganic. And when we talk about inorganic heavy metal, it's the pollution. It's the simple molecule of silver, mercury, and arsenic. It's not the one that is binded in the carbon, right?
That's right. So for example, one thing that I've learned in my time since leaving medicine, which is quite mind-blowing for me when you think about it, is boron deficiency is something that a lot of people have around the world, and it's linked with rheumatoid arthritis.
Yes.
Okay. And then other things, for example, vanadium and chromium are necessary in the right format for the receptor, the insulin receptor on cells. Okay, so if you've not got enough of the micronutrients, vanadium and chromium, the actual receptor on the cell is not going to work properly, so that your glucose stays in your bloodstream and it's not actually getting inside the cell where it's needed for fuel, for the fire, okay, for burning, so that we can have energy and use it properly. So when you think about things like that, you're like, wow, that makes so much sense. So how can something that benefits us so much be then labeled as a bad thing to have in our system? Only when it's the wrong kind. And then the beauty of fulvic and the humic is it takes the wrong kind out, while it also acts as a reservoir for the right kind in the right amount, because you're not going to get too much. Yes, there's enough in 1/16 of a teaspoon for daily requirements, but it doesn't mean all of the minerals are going to be pushed into all of the cells, only what is needed. So I just think it's just beautiful. it's a grand design, and and you know, this is what I prayed for, to come across something that would genuinely help people in so many ways, and it's simplicity, because I like things that are simple to understand.
Yes.
It
Yeah, and
floats my boat.
it's Mother Earth's gift to mankind, because the body will take what it needs and replenish and eliminate the rest, because of that carbon. And then the effect of what it can do on the systemic functions and all what the body needs, and the enzymatic functions also, which is important, the probiotics and the digestive enzymes and the gut biome. All of these are regulated by taking a small dose of humic and fulvic on a daily basis. We recommend 500 milligrams, or 1/16 of a teaspoon in water, and drink that once a day. And you get your mineral content, your vitamins, your enzymes, your probiotics, and you're on your way. And so we have a great concept. And I do appreciate, we've been talking now for about 40 minutes, Lynn, and time flies when we're having fun. But I appreciate you being on this call and giving all that information, and especially your personal testimony, because I'm glad that you as a doctor recommends and endorses the product, because it's important for us for the future growth, and being able to talk about it. And also, people that are going to listen to us are going to be getting a little bit more comfort knowing that it's a safe product, and there's no problem using the product. So for that, I thank you very much. I really appreciate your being on this call, and hope for the best in the future. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. Thank you. And I'm sure we can do other calls and talk at length on other too. Thank you. You have a lovely rest of your day.